Hey, beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. I guess you can call it a podcast. And we are now talking Doubling Down with the Derricos, Season 2, Episode 7. And the episode starts off with mom and dad sitting all the kids down and telling them exactly what's about to happen with their brother and the surgery. And the fact that they're about to go out of town and they all have certain things that they need to do, but mainly her explaining what's going to happen with his head and, kind of how serious the surgery is. Eric comes in and immediately dad is like, hey, Eric, okay, listen, I need you to work with the triplets on their math. All right. Thanks. Holla, holla, holla. Thanks for being here. I was like, dang, you barely said hi and you putting him to work already. Did he just come from work? Does he live there? You guys, I have questions. How many times do I have to say I have questions about Eric? What's happening? You guys, I think it's so cute. They have a great handle on all these kids. I swear they do. Because someone is in charge of the mask and the hand sanitizer, and another one is in charge of the snacks. And great, put them all to work. Listen, teamwork makes the dream work, and they have a big old team. I like it. Okay, so dad's best friend comes over and he takes him upstairs and he's explaining to him that he's gonna be the project manager on a renovation that he's gonna have done to the house while they're out of town. And he explains that the house was supposed to be temporary. So you guys, I do believe that they will be moving soon. I really do. Even though they're doing this renovation, I feel, because they're on a TV show. So whatever he's making in property management or real estate, whatever it is he does, he's getting more now because he's on TV. And great, amazing. Hopefully they have so many seasons because I really do enjoy the show. But I really feel like he's going to give these babies a backyard soon. But yeah, he explains that it was temp until the, COVID hit, and now the surgery and all of that is costing a lot of money. So I have no doubt that soon they will be moving. So he says they're going to renovate the owner's suite and the living room. And he said that the owner's suite they're going to make into their kids' bedroom. And he's like, the sacrifices that we make. And quick story, y'all know I always have to throw in a little bit of my life into each of my reviews. But when I had a 2-bedroom apartment, I ended up giving my daughter, when she was like 2 or 3, I gave her maybe 3 or 4. I gave her the biggest bedroom because she had all those toys and everything all over my living room, and my dining room was just like a play area. So in order to have it contained and have her in her bedroom and be able to move around successfully without making a mess of the whole entire house, yeah, I went ahead and took the small room and gave her the big room. And yeah, it worked out better that way. So kudos to them for sacrificing for the babies. And he said that they're going to get bunk beds. And as we're going to see later on in the episode, the kids love bunk beds. So that's very good. Okay, so he tells his friend, I think his name is Chris, he has 10 days to get everything done. So basically what they're doing is paint, carpet, and bunk beds. And that's cool. It'll still, feel really fresh from just that. And he goes into this whole speech about trusting him and yada, 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 OCD, yada, yada, yada. You guys, we really are going to do a drinking game every time he says OCD. I promise you. We're going to do it next week. Have your drinks ready. Okay? So yeah, cute scene. Best friend's going to be there for him. Listen, we only have 10 days. Get going. Let's do it. So it's the next morning and they're getting ready to go, and they have all the bags packed and kids ready. And you guys, they have 1 billion bags. Like, it's so much that it looks like they have those bags, look like those bags that you shrink to fit. Like you put the vacuum cleaner in to shrink the bags or whatever. And I guess maybe they just didn't shrink them. But I'm telling you, that's what those bags look like. I could be wrong, but they're not garbage bags, but they're big like that. Like, they have extremely large bags that they have to fit into 2 vehicles because, of course, they're taking Eric, and Gigi don't get a break, so she has to go too. So they're packing the bags in one of the vans, and Gigi is trying to tell him how he should pack it, and he's going, "No, no, mom. I know what I'm doing. It's fine, and you should go get your cooler or something." He was telling her, and he was basically just trying to send her away. And I don't know why, but when you have kids and they become teens and young adults, and I guess old adults with 1,200 kids, they don't think you know anything, and they kind of talk to you in kind of a shitty way. He was just kind of like, beat it. And she had to remind us that he has OCD, take a drink, and he's a little controlling. So she didn't take offense to it, but I don't know. I didn't like it, but I can't say that I've never done it with my mom, because I have, because of course I've been a teen and a young adult. But once you figure out that these older people really do know what they're talking about, they're kind of wise, then you listen a little bit more. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe she will end up being right later on in the episode. Y'all, Gigi ain't playing. Y'all know she ain't no joke. So she told him she was a little ticked. I'm like, you better let him know, Gigi. Let him know, don't be talking to you like that. But I have to say, he made sense when he was explaining why he was packing that way. Why didn't he just tell her that? Like, just tell her that there's certain things that I need to get to while I'm driving, perhaps, and I don't need it to be up under all of this other stuff. Just tell her that, as opposed to talking to her like she's 2 years old. He made a point, so all right, point for dad. So it's after 11 p.m. and they finally make it to the Airbnb. Dad says they left Vegas at a little bit after 2, and technically it should have only been a 4-hour trip. He never explained where the other 4 or 5 hours came in and why it took so long. So I'm assuming maybe it was them stopping to let the kids use the restroom or eat or something like that. But nonetheless, when they walk in, they are pleasantly surprised. They're pleased, they like it. And suddenly Eric says that it smells moist in there. And I'm just going to leave that right there. And then dad says, yeah, it smells like, somebody's been smoking the doobie. And mom says, yeah, well, maybe it was medicinal. We're just going to say maybe it was medicinal. So they're breaking off into rooms, and we have the oldest daughter saying how she really wanted to room with Gigi. She's going to room with the twins, but she really did want to room with Gigi. And I thought it was so adorable because she's so attached to her Gigi, and I just love their relationship. I think it's so cute, and I'm glad she has it because she has no multiples. So it's the next morning, and dad's making breakfast. Gigi comes out, and he asks her how she slept. She said, nah, it wasn't a good sleep. She had a rough time because she said she knows that there was some marijuana smoked in there, and they proceeded to call the marijuana and the weed by every name imaginable. Mary Jane, Reefa, all of that. And she said she just couldn't breathe well, and it just felt wet, like she just had an irritant all night. And he's like, yeah, that has to be killing your emphysema. And I'm like, y'all see? How many times I got to tell y'all you should have left Gigi at home, give her a vacation, give her a break, stay there, Gigi, and then you don't have to worry about the weed. So dad and mom says, they knew that the vacation, or they thought the vacation would be lit, but they didn't know it would be this lit. So mom says, look, we have to take Gigi's health into consideration. So we're going to pack up this place, and I'm going to look for a place today, another Airbnb. And, as soon as we find it, we'll be already packed up and we can get out of here. And I'm like, dang. And she was saying, too, that this is the last thing she would have wanted to do. They only have 2 days to the surgery. She really wanted to do something fun. But now she's looking for another place for them to stay. And much respect to this mom, because that is a lot. That's a lot. Not only are you repacking everything for yourself and all these freaking kids, but you have to look for another place. And like she said, she has to do a forensic check on it. So she has to make sure that, okay, it's not going to smell like weed. It's not going to have all these issues, because we don't want to keep moving from Airbnb to Airbnb. So listen, much respect to mom, because she does a lot. So mom has secured another rental. And this takes me back to what I said about them not saying actually what things are. They try to make it sound a little bit better. And as opposed to calling it an Airbnb, they call it a rental. And I'm not hating. I'm going to do that too. I'm going to start making up different names for things to make it sound a little fancier. A little fancier. So they are taking the whole family to the beach before they go to the next air rental. They're going to the beach. So we're at the beach and they have a race to the water. They've rolled up their pants and everything and they're racing to the water. And guess who wins? Eric. Damn it, Eric. Let the kids win, Eric. What the heck? So it's cute though. They love the water. They love the beach. I guess it's their first time except the twins when they were there before. And I don't know though. It seemed a little cold out there and they were falling and I don't know, but I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. So they're at the beach and they're loving it. Mom and dad goes for a walk. Cute little scene. They make it to the next, as he calls it, short-term rental. And they have bunk beds. And the kids are jumping all over the bunk beds and having pillow fights. And yeah, it's cute and all, but that's too much noise. And that's too many kids. And that's too much, stop jumping on those beds. I'm not paying for these beds after we have to pay for 10 days of being here at this goddamn Airbnb. Stop jumping. But they said the kids love the bunk beds. Beautiful, because when you get home, you will have bunk beds. So thankfully you like them. And she was saying how they are trying to relax as much as they can. But, you know, it's kind of hard because the next day is the surgery. And later on this evening, they have to have a Zoom call with the doctor and go over exactly what's going on. So dad steps out and gives a call to his best friend Lee. I was totally wrong. It's not Chris, it's Lee. And Lee's telling him that everything's going well. And he says, listen, I know when you use the spray gun, you know, particles fly. So just make sure that you have everything covered up. And when you tape everything off, just make sure that it's taped well. And I want the sharp edges. And he says that, you know, he's trying really hard to handle his Derrico CD. Jesus, we get it. Again, his friend tells him that everything is fine. He knows how he likes it. It's going to be fine. He says it's really hard for him to give up control. He really is a control freak. And I don't know. I don't know if it's endearing or if it's cute, but he's a control freak. And his friend wasn't mad, so we'll leave it at that. So they're finally having the Zoom meeting with the doctor, and her first question was, you know, as you're putting him to sleep, are we able to be back there or not? And he says, yeah, at this point, you guys can both go back there. It's fine. But he does tell them that with COVID, everything is changing daily. So I can't tell you for sure. They can tell you at the front desk when you come, but I believe both of you can come in. Now, you guys, it gets really, really heavy the rest of the episode from here. And it was very, very touching for me as well. So I couldn't really clown Dad for crying the entire time because, yeah, I would have lost it as well. So she asked the doctor, so tell me exactly what it is you're doing. Are you shaving it down? She's like, for lack of a better term, I don't know. Are you just shaving his skull down? And he explains, you guys, that he is going to basically cut him across his head, and they're going to peel back the front, peel it forward, and peel the back backwards. They are going to take out part of his skull. You guys, it's so hard because when I tell you I would have lost it at all of this, oh, God bless them. They are going to, you know, take off some of the skull and then cut it into pieces and basically rebuild it in a round way and put it back. And it's just so hard to listen to, knowing that this is somebody's baby. It's just a baby, period. And then as a parent, you put yourself in their shoes, and I promise you, I could not imagine. I cannot imagine someone sitting here telling me, I'm going to cut your baby's head open, basically, have all of their head exposed, and we'll see what happens. I can't. So Dad's crying like crazy, of course, and Mom is crying. I think Dad cried for like 20 minutes before the mom started crying. But, you know, at this point, they're both very emotional. So it's the morning of surgery, and Mom and Dad are getting ready, and they're getting him ready, Diaz. And Dad says he's just a little bit lost because he's wondering where everyone else is, especially his twin. And it's so sad because they show him and he is kind of looking around the corner like, okay, who else is coming? So they get him in the car, and then Gigi comes out and she says, listen, I have prayed and I do have faith, but I'm still a little worried because, the doctors are going to open his head up. And if they happen to touch the wrong thing, that's his brain. That's central control. So that could mess him up forever. So she's a little shaken by that. And I don't blame her. Like, that's the biggest thing. Y'all fooling with his brain and his head. That's huge. So they make it to the hospital, and unfortunately, only one parent can go in, and that's going to be mom. So dad can't go in, so he has to go home, and he's on his way home. He's very upset, of course, because he's saying how the hospital works is the parent that goes in is the parent that has to be the parent the entire time. Like, no one else can come in. So if mom goes in initially, mom is the one who's there for a week, and he's not going to be able to see him for a week. So it's very rough for him. So he gets home and he tells Gigi, about him not being able to go in. She's like, yeah, that really, really sucks. And then the mom calls and she chats with them and shows that Diaz is playing with Legos and he's okay. And then suddenly we have the doctors coming in, or the nurses, and they're telling her that it's time for them to take him. And they're going to give him something to drink to calm him down before they give him anesthesia. And then at that point, they have to take him away from her. So Diaz is crying, and it's just so sad. He starts crying, and it's just very emotional. Just a very, very heavy episode. And we are praying that he is okay. I'm going to assume that he made it out of surgery okay, but as we know, there's no guarantee that everything will be the same. And that's what the huge prayer is for, that he's okay, number one, and number two, that he's going to be perfectly fine after the surgery. So that's it for this week's episode. I will be back for next week's episode. Like, comment, and subscribe. If you're new or if you're returning and you haven't subscribed, please do. You don't want to miss next week's episode. It's going to be good. We saw the previews. Again, like, comment, subscribe, you guys. See you next week for the next episode. Smooches.